Over the last 2 months, I've been rebuilding a fake Porsche 911 with the goal of building an affordable, no-nonsense classic car that I can use every day. That will put a smile on my face and everyone who sees it. We're now entering the final stretch. With bodywork and primer almost finished, we can now focus on some other really cool areas. So come along and let's build this thing. Hello and welcome back to Hudson Auto Films, and today you join me yet again on our fake 911. Now, if you didn't see the last episode, we got the main portion of this primed and now we're working on the rest of the body, and it is looking really, really sharp. But in today's episode, we want to address something arguably equally as important as the body, and that is the wheels. Now, the wheels that are currently fitted are 15s, they're old, and they just don't really suit what I'm going for. I really have this vision of this sort of 80s Japanese street car 911, and I just think that's the look. So these aren't quite up to it. Now, you also may remember that a few weeks ago, I picked up off Facebook Marketplace a set of replica BBS alloys for under £100. And they look awesome, but the condition was pretty horrendous. One had a crack in it, they were tarnished, all sorts of things. It was just, they're the perfect silhouette, but they are in dire need of restoration. Now, of course, we could give that a go here, but with my skill set, they would end up looking probably worse. So in today's episode, I've decided to hand it over to the pros. So now I'm going to take you back a couple of weeks to when not only did I have a beard, but we also went through the whole process of getting these wheels professionally restored to an incredible level. So let's do this. Okay, so today we're dealing with another very important part of the build, and that is wheels. And a few episodes ago, you might remember I introduced some very, very janky fake BBS alloys, and they're just really far gone. And I didn't know what to do with them because I knew they were the right look, but they were just buggered, for want of a better word. So we got in touch with Wheelhouse in Ipswich, and we've come down today to document the process of taking these abysmal wheels and making them something glorious again. So let's go inside and see where the magic happens. Charles.
Hi.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you, yeah. So, wheels.
Well, you've come to the right place.
I think I have, clearly, yeah. So obviously for the Covin 911, careful not to call it a Porsche, or Porsche, I dropped you off some very terrible replica BBS alloys. What are your findings so far?
Well, so far we have found that they're not in horrendous shape.
Oh, that's good.
One is cracked and will need welding, and two of them are slightly out of shape, so they will need a little bit of pushing back into shape. But other than that, not too horrendous.
But all things you can do here.
All things we can do here. So happy to sort of walk you through the process and show you what we do.
Yeah, amazing. So where do we go first?
So we'll start at the beginning, which is a good place to start.
Perfect.
All wheels that come into us, either still on a car or loose, as you brought yours in, we'll start by taking the tyre off, and once the tyre's off, that's really when the whole process of refurbishing the wheel starts. We will take the wheel off this, and the first thing we need to do is get rid of valves and get rid of weights. And make sure the wheel is reasonably clean before it goes into the paint strip tank. Because what we don't want to end up with is lots of wheel weights and valves in our strip tank. So over we go to here, and we start by cutting the valve out. And removing wheel weights.
Are they just sort of masticed in?
So modern wheel weights, so back in the day, a lot of weights were, with the steel wheels, were bang-on weights and banged onto the outside and inside rims. Modern weights tend to be self-adhesive, and at the end of the process, when the wheels are being retired, they're then rebalanced, and we'll put new weights on accordingly when they're being balanced. We have to get rid, so the bane of our lives with these stick-on weights is the sticky adhesive foam pads. Again, we try and get rid of as much of this before they go into the strip tank. The older the wheel, the more time they've had weights put on, and the more of this stuff we've got to take off.
And just out of interest, obviously these are replicas. Is there anything that gives this away immediately as not being as a high quality wheel as it's pretending to be?
So often with the replicas, they are often a lighter weight alloy. They tend to be a bit softer because they're lighter.
Yeah.
They're more likely to become bent because they're not quite as tough maybe as OEM wheels. And often, particularly when you're replicating a BBS wheel, these studs will not be metal bolts. These will be plastic studs. So again, as part of the process of refurbishing, particularly when it comes to the paint stage, when they're heated up to about 200 degrees, these don't survive. They will melt and come away. So at the end of the process, once it's been painted, if you wanted to fully replicate the BBS wheel, you'd need to purchase and stick in new fake bolts, because that's all these are. These are not structural. The original BBS wheels, obviously they're a two-part wheel. Some of them are three-part wheels, but two-part wheels, and these bolts actually play a very significant role in bolting the face to the barrel.
But here they're just for looks.
They are merely decorative. The other thing we'll do, if it's full of brake dust, we go around it and take as much of the loose dirt as possible from the barrel. Having cleaned up the barrel, removed the weights, taken the valve out, the last thing we do before heading over to the strip tank is remove any tyre residue from the front and back rim. Because this tyre residue here doesn't strip very well, and if you don't take it off now, you'll only have to take it off when we're doing the prep stage. So tyre fitters love using bead sealer as well. And bead sealer, again, is another bane of my life. And they fling that stuff about with gay abandon. If we've got more stubborn bits, that's done.
Your poor ears.
Yes, normally I'm wearing ear defenders. This place can be quite a noisy environment. When you've got the extractor fan going on the booth, you've got the auto blaster going. It's pretty noisy. The more rubbish we can remove now, we keep our strip chemical in much better condition. If you start filling it up with brake dust and dirt, you just turn it into sludge.
How often do you have to change that chemical over?
So the chemical itself is not changed over. Once you purchase the initial batch of chemical, it's then recycled. So every 2 months, we will drain the tank, and the stuff that's drained out sits in one of these IBCs, and the stripped paint and solids separate out. And then 2 months later, we will add that separated chemical back into the tank, and we add in new chemical at that stage. So it's a process of constantly sort of topping it up, but reusing.
The more you can remove this, the less frequently you have to do that whole.
The more we look after that chemical, the more effective it remains, and it maintains its potency far better.
Understood.
Far better. So having cleaned the wheel, the next step before it goes over to the strip tank is we'll put it on the balancing machine and just spin it up and see how true it is, and whether or not we need to contact the client and say, well, actually, 1, 2, 3 or 4 of these wheels are bent, and we would recommend that we push them back into shape before we paint them. So we'll go over to the balancer. So this really is literally a quick check, but we do it for every wheel that comes in, whether it's a retail job or even for the trade boys. We'll check their wheels for them they'll make a decision whether or not they actually want the wheel straightened. If they're really bad, we strongly recommend they are, because a significantly bent wheel will clearly affect handling, vibration through the steering wheel, and actually it's more likely then to result in tyres becoming damaged, or even the wheel becoming damaged and cracking. So it's worth looking at, checking. That one has got, you can see it's got a very slight hop, but probably that's one we would say, do you know what, we can probably let that one go. It's not horrendous. But you'll normally try and look at the rim against a fixed point. I usually use something in the socket set, and you just see that it's just slightly bouncing up and down. But that's not some of them, if they're really badly bent, you'll see a marked hop. And something like that we would suggest is straightened. But this one really not too bad at all. Wheel straightening, if you can imagine a baked bean can with it's been opened and you squish it out of shape. When you try and push it back into shape, you'll get it 95%, 98% there. You'll probably never make it perfect again. So something like that, we might be able to improve it marginally, but I don't think you'd improve it enough to make it necessary or worthwhile.
Absolutely. And the other wheels, are they all a similar state, or were some more bent out?
I think it's a little while since we spanned them up, so I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think a couple of them were more significantly shonky.
And I guess because, as you say, they're replicas being softer, they're probably more susceptible to that sort of thing happening.
They're more susceptible to being bent, and once bent, more susceptible to crack.
Obviously we found that on one of them.
One of them is cracked. So obviously that's something we can attend to as well. So having sorted the wheel out, cleaned it up, we'll then take it over to the strip tank to remove the paint, ready for the rest of the refurbishing process. Okay, so the next step, what was I saying about it being noisy? That's the extractor for the booth. So there's a massive fan sitting at the back of the booth, which draws air in through the two massive filters either side of the door, and makes sure air is always going one way and up and out. So it maintains a dust-free environment there, and means that when they're powder coating, the dust is all being drawn away from them.
Sort of go into
it means that we're not going in and out those doors. Once he's in there, he's in there. But what it does mean is that it's very noisy. So having taken the tyre off, cleaned the wheel up, checked for any bends, the next step is the paint stripping process. At Wheelhouse, we use a hot alkali system. In the good old days, and still in a number of alloy wheel setups, they use cold acid to strip wheels. However, it's becoming increasingly difficult to get hold of that stuff, and the health and safety executive are getting increasingly sniffy about people using it. It's pretty unpleasant. Not nice to work with, pretty dangerous. The plus side is that it strips wheels fairly quickly. The benefit of the hot alkali system is that it's much more user-friendly. You still need to be careful. I mean, we're running this stuff at 80 degrees C, so you've got to be careful. But in a purpose-built tank with an extraction unit, so whenever the lid comes up, the extraction kicks in. It's a lot safer. We do wear a mask when we're using this, and obviously we'll have gloves on and so on. But this is a much more user-friendly setup, and much safer to use, particularly when you're employing staff and so on. The health and safety side of things are much easier to deal with, as opposed to dealing with cold acid, which comes with a whole host of headaches in terms of managing your staff and managing the process. The downside to the hot alkali is that it does take much longer. So when we're putting wheels in this, we would anticipate a strip time of around about 6 hours. So it usually means we can put a set of wheels in the morning and usually get them out at the end of the day, and put another set of wheels in overnight, get them out the following morning. So that's generally how we work. Right. So we use a mask that's suitable for vapor situations rather than just dust. and thick rubber gloves. So the tank itself is relatively easy to operate. Compressed air pushes the rams and opens the tank, and then you press the buttons and it releases the air and back down it goes. We can normally fit, depending on the size of the wheel, we can normally fit between 12, and if you're dealing with small wheels, maybe up to 16 wheels at a time. So we're normally running at about 12 wheels per load. We've unloaded the tank this morning. I'm waiting for the next load to come in. But normally we'd be looking at 12 out, 12 in, and repeat the process at the end of the day, and on it goes. So having got the wheel out of the strip tank, we've wiped it down, we pop it in the trough here, and you can see that's where, if there's any residual strip chemical, it just ends up in the trough. The next step is to put the wheel in the wheel wash, and we clean off any residual strip chemical before the stage after that, which is auto shot blasting. Because we certainly don't want to put a wheel like that in our shot blaster. It's covered in strip chemical, and we don't want to be plastering that all over our blaster and contaminating wheels and causing all sorts of problems further down the line.
In terms of reusing the chemical, even bits, would you reuse that, or is that dead?
That's pretty dead. You saw we use a cloth just to wipe the wheels down. They just sit in a little bit of water. It's a water-based chemical. So stuff like that, where we're rinsing out the cloths, we'd reuse that. If we had a lot of chemical in there, I mean, hopefully we won't, because we're always wiping them down. You might choose to sort of mop up some of it, but essentially the stuff in there gets pretty grotty. So no, we don't tend to use that again.
I had no idea the process was so complex.
I think when people bring their wheels in and leave them with us, I mean, some people might have seen on our website, we've got a sort of little video of what happens. But I don't think people truly appreciate actually how much work goes in to...
That's why I was keen to come down, because I just think it...
I think people think we get the wheels in, take the tyres off, kick them around the workshop and spray them with a spray can. No, there's a lot of work and a lot of love, and when it's warm, a lot of sweat that goes into this.
So this is the wash tank.
So this is just, I mean, it's a glorified pressure washer in effect. So it's a combination of pumping and recycling the water and compressed air that creates a strong jet of water that will clean the wheel and wash away the residual strip chemical from the wheel before we then move it on and clean it again. So there's another process where we then use clean water because this is recycled water and it's heated. So this is there's a barrel of water in there which is maintained at about 40 degrees or so. So it's warm, but that's much more effective at removing the chemical than cold water. So having popped the wheel in, close it down, and just uses a foot switch. So it's just a question of working methodically around the wheel to make sure we've cleaned all the chemical off. And with most normal size wheels, we can turn them over inside the tank, so we do front and back. Just trying to get into all the nooks and crannies and make sure we've washed it thoroughly. Again, we'll sort of drain that off. We've got lots of these little trays everywhere, and that's why they're there. So we'll catch as much of that wash fluid as possible, and that will get thrown back in again. Clean the wheel and it's drip dried. We'll pop it up here. And then this is just fresh water in here. So it's been cleaned there, then it's cleaned again, cleaned, and to some extent, this is the start of the sort of drying process.
Yeah.
And you'll notice on this wheel, this is the one that was previously cracked.
I just spotted that, yeah.
So it has been welded, but that weld has opened up again.
Yeah.
So that will need to be tackled. If you've got a cracked wheel, obviously there's a risk that the wheel might give up altogether.
Yeah.
But the more day-to-day problem is that it simply allows air to leak slowly from the tyre, and the bead is compromised.
Yeah.
So that will need to be ground out as part of the welding process. That crack will be ground right out and effectively opened right up so that it can be welded again and closed up.
And in terms of the repair that was done before, it looks like on the inside they haven't actually, they've just done a bead as opposed to opened it.
So there will have been a bead left there, but that gets ground back.
Right.
You have to grind this bit back because you need to recreate the bead seal.
Okay, got you.
On this side, it's less crucial. I guess if you wanted to finish that off properly, and if it's been welded effectively, you should be able to grind that back, and the weld will have totally fused the edges of the crack.
Yeah.
So you're not simply relying on a slug of filler rod over a crack to hold it all together. And it may be perhaps when that was done originally, perhaps they hadn't ground that back, because here, having done the weld, you grind it back and you make sure there aren't any little air pockets or something like that that could then result in the crack opening up again. So you grind it back, make sure it's completely filled and completely fused.
And obviously with a repair, I suppose, no matter how good it is, it will always be a week.
We say to clients, it is a repair, it's not a new wheel, it will get you out of trouble, and in most cases, it should last a long while. But the nature of the injury, if you like, that caused that crack in the first place, you don't know how it's affected the structure, the alloy structure around it and so on, and there is now an inherent weakness there. So it's never going to be 100% perfect.
I'm learning a lot about wheels, a lot that I didn't know before, which is why it's learning, because it's new knowledge. What do you think, Joe?
It's a lot more involved than I realised.
Yeah.
I didn't realise just how much effort and time went into restoring wheels.
I know. I mean, when I've restored wheels before, I just hit them with a rattle can, and then that's all it a day.
But Charles definitely knows his stuff.
He does, yeah. Trust in Wheelhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's mad.
So this rack that we made serves two purposes. One, it allows us to put the wheels on here after they've been washed. We can wipe them down, but it's also a convenient place to store them. And normally, each wheel will sit on the rack like this, because if we have got a bent wheel, we mark it with a dot punch so that it's immediately apparent to whoever is starting to prepare wheels for painting. If one needs a bend repair, it will be marked, and the bend can be repaired before getting too far into that process. When you're really at that point wanting to keep the wheels fairly clean, you don't want to be handling the faces of them too much, because you'll be leaving greasy fingerprints everywhere. So, again, that can affect the paint finish. So if we've got a wheel that needs bending, this is the time we want to do it. So we'd move it from here over to the bend machine. So because this one has been marked as being bent, we will put it over on the bend machine. So this is the bend machine. So say bend machine. It's the unbending machine. We don't want to be bending wheels. We have unbending wheels. So it's got a massive spindle and a hub. Every wheel will need a specific hub center. So we've got a range of sizes, which means that we can tackle most wheels. You get the odd one that is a bit of an awkward size, and we've got some more specialised hub sensors that we use if we need to. So once we've mounted it, we just use the indicator here and that will show you where you've got any defects in the rim.
Amazing how clear that makes it even just to the eye.
It's sitting a little bit high where it's cracked, it's opened up a little bit. Probably because it's bent just after that.
Yeah.
So it's been bent there and it's pushed this bit up a little bit. So we've got a high point there and a low point here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's quite a...
So this shows you where you've got defects.
Yeah.
And then sometimes if you've got a really bent wheel, it's blindingly obvious where it is, and you don't necessarily need to mark it. But what I tend to do is that I'll mark the start point and the sort of finish point and where it's worst, so that you know that's pretty much the middle of the bend, because as part of the sort of unbending process, we'll use a little bit of heat as well. So we've got a propane torch there, so we can heat the alloy up. So it's a little bit more malleable, a little bit easier to work with. So bad now the weather's warming up a little bit, but it's really cold and you had a significant bend and you just went at it with the hydraulic press here. Having not pre-warmed it, you're far more likely to crack it as you start to push the bend out. You'll just go bang and cracks. So in warming the wheel up a little bit, it just makes the alloy a little bit more malleable, a little bit easier to work. So I mean, if I actually put you can just see when you've got a bend, and that's, they weren't massive bends, but you can see how much it jumps about and how much that would affect the handling, and well, you're likely perhaps to get a little bit of vibration. I guess smaller wheels and bigger tyres, obviously it will tend to absorb a lot of that vibration. But if you're putting firmer, sportier tyres on, you're definitely going to feel that. The front face actually is not too bad. We're normally speaking, if you've got a bent wheel, it's normally going to bend on the back rim.
Why is that?
Because it's not supported.
Yes.
The front rim is supported by the face, whereas this is unsupported and is much weaker and much more likely to be effective when it goes through a pothole or over a curb or something like that. However, if a wheel has been really smacked hard, you can get bends on the front as well, though they're much harder to deal with, because at the back, when you're repairing the bends, when you're using the hydraulic press and you select the fittings you need for the size wheel, I think that would probably do it. Yeah. So we use this hydraulic ram to push the wheel back up again. So where we've got that little bend, we can use the hydraulic press to go up, start to push that wheel back into shape. So it is a by-eye process, and I guess the more you do, the better you get at feeling how much you can push a wheel, and it is sometimes through experience of feeling, because if you've got a really badly bent wheel and it's requiring a lot of force, you do sort of get to a point where you think, actually, if I push this much more, it's just going to go. And you then have to make a decision: have I pushed it enough for the wheel to be usable? Perhaps we stop now and it's still a usable wheel, or you keep going, and poof, and it cracks. It's an art as much as it is sort of process. But that's how we then start sorting the bends out. So having had the wheel on the bend machine, if we've needed to, we will then put it through the blaster. So we're just going to grab the wheel there and get that through the blaster. So this is our shot blaster, which every wheel will go through once it's been through the strip process. It's very much set up for blasting wheels, so sometimes people do come in with other bits and pieces they want us to powder coat. We can't really put any old bit of metal in there. This is very much geared up for wheels only. So when it comes to dealing or prepping other items for painting, we might use the wet blaster over my shoulder there, or you're simply down to just having to sand stuff down.
Is that just the aggression of the grit you've got in
there?
Well,
no, but it's just the nature of how this thing is.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's very much set up to take a wheel, and because of the rollers in there, the wheel is rotated, and it's got a turbine in here with fans, or fins, which flicks the shot media which is the stuff in here,
Yeah.
flings this shot media around in this sort of steel cabinet quite ferociously, and it goes one way to do the front rim, and then it stops, restarts, and it automatically does the back rim.
So it's fully automated, this? It
Fully
just
automated,
goes in.
so once it goes in, I'll show you how we set it up. You put it in, get it started, you can walk away, leave it for 4 or 5 minutes for how long it takes to blast the wheel. You can then be prepping another wheel,
Return
come back,
to it,
and so it goes on. So I'm just going to grab the wheel and you'll see how that sits. So get the wheel. So we pop it inside the gates. So because of the force that the media is flung round at, if we didn't have the gates, as the wheel is being rotated, so that's how it rotates, once the machine's running. If there were no gates there, it would simply get pushed right across the inside of the machine. So you have to have the gates there to stop it being moved one way or the other, depending on which face is being blasted. So I'll always look to try and make sure the gates are fitting the wheel as snugly as possible, so you can alter the position of the gates according to the size of the wheel. So once it's in, we simply shut the door, and we will then set the timer, and you can adjust the time for both front and rear rim. So if you've got a more significantly corroded front or rear rim, you might want to blast that side for a little bit longer. But generally speaking, if a wheel is relatively uncorroded, as your wheels have been, we will blast each side for 1.5 minutes. And once that's set, we turn the fan on. So this creates inside the cabinet a lot of dust, disintegrating shot media, and also everything coming off the wheel. So there's an extractor unit here with a big filter and a trap to collect usable media. So we reuse the media that is still usable, but the finer dusty material ends up in the extractor.
Yeah, because it can be incredibly nasty stuff, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's yes. I mean, if you didn't have that, and this was, it would be a real dust storm in here. So every day, and that filter has to get cleaned out. So that's the extractor kicking in, and then we set it off. So it's blasting the front rim first. We'll count down. When it's finished, stop. As it goes the other way, we'll blast that side. So it's now finished the cycle, front and back. You have to wait for it to stop. So the paddles have stopped. There's only a small trough at the bottom of the auto blaster, so it's important you refill that trough, reuse the shot media, because if you just kept doing that and it kept filling up here, eventually that would have nothing to throw around and it becomes less effective. So you can see then how it's cleaned the alloy up. Those little bolts have sort of stood the test of time.
That's quite impressive, actually. I thought they'd be completely mush.
So they'll go in the oven and we'll soften them up and get rid of them. So generally speaking, once the wheel's finished there, we then go over, we've done bends if necessary, it's then been blasted, we go over to the prep area. So we'll come through to the prep area. This essentially is my domain. This is where I live, and this is where we get the wheels ready for painting. So although James is the magician with the powder coat, no powder coater is any good without someone prepping the wheel for him. So it'd be no good sending a wheel in for painting if you hadn't all sort of chonked up. So this is where we start prepping things up. Now this is one of your wheels that's already been through the blaster. We have put it through the oven to get rid of those plastic bolts. So it's now ready for prepping. I've got this little step here because holding that grinder up for hours on end, it's a little bit easier if I'm holding it that light rather than up there. So that's why I'm standing up here. But the idea here is that with a combination of a grinder with normally an 80 grit flat disc on it, we'll use that to take out the worst of the damage. So generally speaking, most of that damage will be on the rim, though sometimes if you've got wheels with more prominent spoke pattern, if they've been badly knocked about, you're often having to deal with significant damage on the spokes as well. But essentially you're taking the wheel round, to take the damage out, initially with a grinder, and then we'll finish off with a sander. I'm going to put a new disc on there. 80 grit, it's relatively coarse, but we're not wanting to create a mirror finish here. No. We need something that's a good key for the powder coat. So we need to take the damage out, but we still need to leave a reasonably rough surface to take the powder effectively and get a good key. So we'll then use an air-driven sander to sort of finish off, and if necessary, we'll sort of tidy up bits in here. If you've got a mucky sort of bolt hole, we'll clean those out as well. And then I'll finish by just simply using a bit of sandpaper to run round the exterior of the barrel. Be surprised actually how much of the shop media becomes embedded in this. I'll use the sandpaper just to quickly run round, feel it if it sort of comes off, just to take the worst of that off. Just so that there's slightly less shop media left on there until it goes into the paint booth, where it is then air-lined off. So you sort of try and get rid of obviously as much dust as possible before it's then painted. So with this one, we're pretty much there, but because this bit had got quite significantly dinked, knocked the lip over a little bit. So I don't like that. So we take that bit off as well. So once we're happy that we've got the wheel prepped, the next step before it's actually painted is protecting the hub. Right. The hub that's in contact with the hub on the wheel mustn't be painted. If it's painted, that will create an uneven surface. And although the wheel itself might be balanced, when you stick it on the wheel, it's not going to sit, right up against it. It might be out slightly, and again you're going to get a vibration. So it's important that isn't painted. So we use a hub disc that fits over the hub. See, that's heat proof, so that doesn't melt in the oven. Just to allow a little bit of air movement, so you don't blow it off when it's being airlined clean. Just create some holes where the wheel bolt bungs have to go, because we don't want paint in them either. So we use these bungs that fit into the wheel bolts and ensure they're not covered in paint. Because that, over time, if they were covered in paint, they're more likely to loosen. If you keep that free of paint, when they're torqued up, they're going to stay nice and tight. Rather than if there's a bit of paint, over time, it might only be half a mil of powder coat or whatever, but as that starts to wear, the bolt starts to loosen, and you could lose a wheel bolt. So that's wheel ready for painting. The next step is just to hang it up. So this is what I'm talking about, the hooks. So you can see that one's been used before, but we can often use those 2-3 times before the powder coat becomes so thick on there that it needs to be stripped off. The little nuts or bolts that fit on the end, though, these need to be paint-free every time we use them, so that when they're in the wheel, you get a good electricity contact when it's hanging up on the rail to be painted. With these, they work well in most wheels, but you can see here with this one, because the recess is quite shallow, that is going to sit proud of the valve hole, so that when it's powder coated, you get a little lip, and when that's removed, particularly if it's removed after the powder coat has started to cure a little bit, it cracks, pulls off. So with these wheels, probably not going to use a wheel hook. We'll grab a chain and we chain them up. And then we get a hook. So it'll be hooked up. And it sits here, waiting to go in the paint booth.
Amazing. Wow,
and that's my job done.
That's quite a process though, isn't it?
But it's quite a process. So to get to here, it's been through de-tarring, cleaning, checking for bends, paint stripping, cleaning, shot blasting, prepping to this point.
Man hours alone, forgetting about sort of chemical times, it's a hugely involved process.
Yes, and I think for a lot of people that haven't seen what we do on the videos on the website, haven't seen what's involved. I think a lot of people think we literally get these wheels, kick them around the workshop, spray a bit of paint on them, and chuck some tyres back on.
Well, I think even from my point of view, I thought, okay, you sort of just prep and then powder coat. You don't think of all of these various contamination and getting it.
And that's why from this point on, once they come out of the shot blaster, you really don't want to be handling them with gloves you've been using at the other end. So I've got gloves down here, gloves up there, because you'll have brake dust and all sorts of grease potentially that you definitely don't want to be having on here. A paint booth's worst nightmare is silicone, grease, anything like that, because the powder coat won't stick, and you end up with these little fish eyes everywhere, and it's an absolute disaster, and you have to start again.
It's all so precise. No, that's amazing.
The wheels will then sit here, normally batch them up. Often they'll be going in batches of 4. You're doing 4 wheels at a time, particularly if they're going a bespoke colour. You want to make sure they're painted together so that each wheel has been preheated for the same length of time, cured for the same length of time, they're all at the same temperature, etc., to make sure you get as uniform a finish as possible on all 4 wheels. Let's say this is as far as I go. Beyond that door is James's territory, and he's the man that does James and Chris, the guys that do the powder coating.
So I guess we'll check back in when they're
all ready to go.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much.
A pleasure.
Pleasure, thank you
Nice to meet you, and best of luck with the ongoing build, and we look forward to seeing the wheels on the finished car.
Well, I think they'll be the standout part. I mean,
I'm sure they will just play their part.
I don't know about that.
The reason why people like getting their wheels done, they are a big part of the visual look of a car, and if the wheels look sad, the car looks sad.
Absolutely,
the wheels are popping out, it makes a big difference. Not that I'm saying the car isn't going to look marvellous as well.
I don't know, there's a bit of a question mark on that one, but the wheels should save the day, I think. So that was brilliant, thank you.
Good. Well, I hope it's given you an insight into what we do up to this point. Then you've got to come back and see the other half of the process, the powder coating, the lacquering, and so on. And then, again, one shouldn't underestimate retiring newly painted wheels, again, is a crucial part. Tense, because that's not where you want to sort of slip with anything and dink the wheel. And then obviously finally the wheel will be balanced, and then it's ready to go back on the car.
Amazing. Happy days. Good. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Good luck with the rest of the build.
I'm just going to walk this way.
Walk this way.
Okay, so we're back at Wheelhouse. It's been a couple of days. Obviously, when we were here originally, they were actually stripping the wheel, fixing all of the imperfections, but now we're back, hopefully presented with a nice clean wheel, which will get some powder coating. So it's exciting. Today is the glamour day. So let's go in and watch the process. Charles, nice to see you again.
Charlie, good to see you.
Thank you for having us back.
Not at all, nice to see you.
So we're picking up where we left off, aren't we?
Indeed, so we've now prepped all four wheels.
Addressed all the damage.
Addressed the damage, taken out the bends. They're all hung up and ready and waiting for James, who now is sort of stage 2.
Makes them look cool.
Yes, he gets all the credit for making them look beautiful, but there's a lot of work.
Well, no, we've seen
into that bit beforehand.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, exciting.
Let's go and meet James.
Oh, Charlie, lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi there. So Charles has, I understand, had you down yesterday and gone through the motions of what we do here at Wheelhouse.
Yep.
I was out yesterday, so I'm ever so sorry I never got the opportunity to meet you, but thanks so much for coming back and having a look at your wheels here. Look.
So these are the Charles has done his magic.
Charles has done his magic. He's a magic man, as with all the team, working wonders here, but he's got them this far. So what we're going to do shortly is take them through the booth, go through the motions, explain to you what we do. You can see it firsthand. I might put you under the spot and see if you want to pick up a spray gun. We'll see. With these wheels, I understand that you are going to go a gold colour.
Yeah.
We've got 4 or 5 different golds that we traditionally use on a daily basis, all right? So there's 50 shades of grey, there's 50 shades of gold, all right? So excuse the pun there, but there's so many different colours that we do very regularly. I know you spoke to Adam as well. So before we lay down the gold, we'll make sure that you're happy with that. I've got a rough idea of what you've requested, but just double check you're happy with that. But what we're going to do here is get these wheels in. It is very noisy, so I hope that the audio comes over okay. We've got the Magic Man Finley on the editing over there, but we'll take you through. It's going to be a little bit warm. Traditionally, day to day, I'd be in there all suited and booted with a mask on, all right? We've slowed down the diary knowing that you're coming down this week, all right? So a bit of a special for you guys. It just means there's not so much traffic coming in and out the booth. That means that we can use this as a demonstration for your viewers to have a look at what we're up to and what we're doing for you. So let's get these in. We're going to take one at a time. I'll just open this door up. So what I'm going to do is just hang them in here, and I'll get the airline and we'll just make sure there's no dust, any debris, anything left over, nothing that's going to be sitting on those wheels as they come in and out of the oven. Right, okay, we've got your 4 wheels in here now. All right, so you've had a good look round them. I'm still yet to blow them off. As I said, I want to get rid of any dust and debris that might have landed on them as they've been sat there overnight, okay? So before they go into this oven here in front of us, we're just going to do that now. All right?
Brilliant.
Cool. Right, I'll move those. We'll get these 2 over. Charlie, would you like to open the big oven door for me? If you lift the handle up and pull the door towards you, and you'll be able to feel the heat as the door opens. So I'm just going to put the first one up there. These eyelets here, we use the wheel, that's how we hang the wheels, okay? I like to hang them and maybe have a couple in between so we know that they're not going to bang into each other once we close that door. Super. Brilliant. Yep, airline. So people might be wondering what the waterfall's for. It does look good. It does sound very loud actually, but essentially what that's doing is catching any nasties. It's going through a filtration system that's going up the flute, out the chimney stack, all right? So by the time it gets to the wider world, we know that those, whatever hits it is clean. All right?
Yeah, brilliant. Cool.
like you, Charlie. Very thorough.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Okay, do you want to just stand in here for a minute? I know your viewers won't be able to, I mean, the oven's been on earlier. It's not on at the moment.
Yeah.
This is just the residual heat that was left over from probably an hour ago. So, yeah,
Pretty warm.
Yeah, and it's going to probably get 5 times hotter than this.
Jeez, yeah. Might put my lunch in.
Yes, absolutely. If you've got a baked potato or something like that, we can just pop it there.
Perfect.
Cool. Right, so we should go out now.
Yeah.
We'll lock the door, turn the oven on. Because these wheels aren't new by any means, they're slightly aged and porous in places. They're not terribly corroded, but what we need to do is burn the moisture out the alloy wheels, all right? So as they've come through the system there, they would have picked up moisture. Even after being through the sandblaster, they've been prepped, they've sat there overnight. We need to ensure that there's no moisture on those wheels. So by the time they come out of here in half an hour, they're going to look a brighter shade of bare metal, all right? So it's just where any dampness will be completely gone, all right? So I'll take you out the door now. Where it's a little bit, well, I hope it's a little bit quieter. You never know when we walk out of here. We're just going to, we've got twin ovens, as you would see there, so we can effectively do 3 sets of wheels at the same time.
Yeah.
We've got a set of wheels in there at the moment. We've just had a set of wheels in the middle here, which we've prepped ready to go in the oven. And in most circumstances, on a busy day, I'll have a set in there. So I've got 2 sets on the go at the same time, and a set that I'm either painting or getting ready to load into the next one. So as I suggested a moment ago, having another set of wheels in the opposite oven, okay? These guys, and Finley, you might want to come in on this and just have a look at the timer. We've got these wheels actively baking. They've been primed at 180, okay? The timer was set for 20 minutes. So we've done 17, we're now on our way back down to 0, all right? Once that's done, the wheels can be pulled out of the oven and they'll go to their respective places. So one of them's got to be diamond cut and things like that, all right? So we'll let Chris go in there and do that in a minute. What we'll do, we're going to set your wheels up at 215 degrees, very, very hot, and we'll do it for half an hour just to ensure, because they've sat around overnight, that we've definitely not got any moisture left over. We've blown them off, we know they're nice and clean. We'll just set that half an hour. I'll let Charlie do that.
You want me to press the big button?
Charlie, I'll let you press the big button.
Oven start.
Oven start. Brilliant. All right, guys, now the oven's on. We'll go and grab a coffee, maybe have some lunch, and we'll see you back here in half an hour.
Perfect, let's do it.
Brilliant, cool.
Cool.
One set of new wheels, please.
Of course, how much would that be, Roy?
Right, Charlie, what do you reckon then?
Well, that's about 30 minutes, isn't it?
Here we go. I know that Adam's just been over and quickly reset this for us, so we've just been over half an hour, largely my fault with a big lunch, and I got called away. So I think we're thereabouts, ready to lay down some black as a primer on your wheels.
Spot on.
Should we go for it?
Let's do it.
Ready for the heat, boys? Let's do it, let's do it. Come in, yeah, shut the door whenever you're ready. I've got heat-proof gloves. I don't suggest anyone try and touching any wheels while they're piping hot, all right?
That is very hot. Oh, that is hot. Right.
So we're around 215 degrees in there. We've got the residual heat from the other oven as well, just sort of wafting around. The extraction just takes some of that away, but not enough, unfortunately. So on an exceptionally hot day, you can only imagine how sweaty you can get in here. I'm just going to give it another blow off. I know we've done this already. Just good practice, just to make sure that we've got nothing left over. What I'm going to do now is lay down the black, as I mentioned earlier. This is going to be used as a primer, okay? So it's a powder coat. I haven't got my mask on. We did express to the viewers that it's a demonstration video.
Yeah.
And we've slowed the process down. We're just going to take our time and go through the motions. I'm going to start with the back bead. So I'm just rotating that with my left hand. Swap over to the front. Just going to layer up nicely on there. Hit the back of the spokes. Takes a few minutes just to ensure that we've covered everywhere. Start working our way around the back of the drum. I've seen various different methods of powder coating. Everyone's got their own unique style. For some reason, going anti-clockwise works for me, which is strange. Sums me up as a person. There we go. Now we're going to start at the front of the wheel. Just trying to hold that in place with my left hand on the spindle. Work my way around, up and down, in the nooks and crannies, finish where I started. Work my way around the bolt holes. And I'll slowly zoom out, as it were. Start working my way around the outside of the bead on the front face. So that is going to be our primer. We're going to do that 3 more times on the other wheels, and then it'll get placed back in the oven again for 20 minutes while that cures.
So one thing I didn't know is that you can't overdo it on powder coat. Because obviously with paint, you're looking for runs and stuff.
Okay, so you can get runs with powder coat.
Really?
It is doable. Look, we're all human. I've done it. I still do it. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Many, many years of doing this, I've sort of navigated, I suppose, myself, how much I can apply.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll get a really corroded wheel that looks like it's been pulled out of a lake, you know, and it needs layers and layers of powder coat to build that up, all right?
Got you.
So what you could do in this instance, say it was really corroded and porous, we could cure that in the oven. Once it's cured, let it cool down, take it out, rub it down, bring it back in, reapply more powder coat, and each time we do that, we're building that up, all right? So it will get to a point where it won't be sensible, you know, you go, well, this wheel is too far gone, we'll phone the customer, we'll explain the situation to them and suggest that we'll get these to the best of our ability within a sensible, you know, standard, you know, because...
And with it, so that is electronically charged?
Yes, so it's got a static feed. So if you look through here, Charlie, there's a window here. You'll see there's an earth wire coming off there, all right? And then we've got a wire on the other side feeding it as well. So what we're doing, we've got the extraction, which is pulling anything nasty away from us, but this helps everything wrap around the metal and the material, all right? So when we're powder coating, it sort of sticks it. You will get your blow by, your drift by, as I call it, which then goes into the waterfall, but predominantly what we're trying to do is lose as much waste as we can, minimise that, so everything sort of wraps around that metal, all right?
So the powder itself is attracted to the electricity, is that how it works?
Yes, essentially, that's how it is. I'm not a scientist in that field. You know, there's always new ways of doing it, but the old-fashioned way, powder coat, as it were now, I mean, it's been around for, let's call it 50 years. It works, and it's so durable from anything that you see, even to these walls here, to road signs, to things you might find in kiddies' park playgrounds. A lot of it is powder coat. Interesting. And a lot of people don't probably know that. But what we find is it's the most durable option that we have to apply to these aluminium wheels. We do steel wheels as well. With a steel wheel, you know, you zinc prime it because you know you normally have a recess round here on a steel wheel. And that's really hard to, that's where they've been welded, all right? That's really hard to feed that powder coat into the depths of that, where that recess is. It's the same as paint. Paint and powder coat, very similar. They'll flow out, but you can't force it. All right, so you can lay it down, you can put a bit more on, come back to it, put a bit more on, but when you're trying to force it into an area, you're then likely to get a run.
That's when it happens.
All right, so...
It's amazing how smooth it looks.
Yeah, so Charles has done a wonderful job to get us this far with his preparation. And as with everything in life, preparation's key. There's no way that I could have laid that down looking as smooth as that, unless Charles spent all day yesterday going round it.
Yeah, no, it looks incredible. Wicked, so we put that in the oven now, is that?
Yeah, so this is going to hang here. We'll pull the other three out one by one, so we will have 4 wheels in here, and they'll go back in there together. So we know that once they're in there, they're going to get baked at the same time, same temperature, all together, all right? Charlie, you'll remember that we had a couple that were bent.
Yeah.
And we've unbent them as it were, so we've straightened them out. I don't like using the word straightened out, it doesn't make sense on a round wheel that it should be straight. But effectively, we've straightened it out,
Yeah.
all right? So we've done it on a couple of the wheels for you. This one had a crack, which we did phone you and notify you about. So Jim's done a wonderful job. It is very, very hard with welding aluminium wheels. They're very soft, they sort of melt as you put too much heat into it. It sort of disintegrates. So Jim's mastered the fine art of welding these aluminium wheels. He's done a grand job. So what we've done here is welded it, both sides okay. You'll see as the primer is sort of working around it, we've ground it back so we haven't got a slug, as it were, on there. Our aim is to hide it, all right?
Yeah.
Okay?
No, it looks fantastic.
Right, so that is our primer stage complete. So we're going to set the oven outside again now, just like we did before. We will have to adhere to the timings a little bit more closely on this occasion, just because we've got product on the wheels now. We don't want to overbake it or undercure it. It's got to be pretty specific. And then what we'll do, when we put them out next time, we'll be putting our gold base down.
Yeah.
All right?
Perfect.
Right, Charlie, well, we set the timer for half an hour. We knew we needed the 20 minutes. We're bang on 10 minutes there.
Perfect.
Let's get to it. Let's get this gold on.
Back to the heat.
Brilliant.
Brace for heat.
Brace the heat. Yeah, embrace the heat. Yeah, please. Yeah, thank you. I'll wait till you're all in. It does draw quite a bit with the door open. So it's the exact same procedures we've just gone through with the black, but we're now laying on the gold, all right?
Awesome.
The black is the primer. This gold, which we're using, is going to be the base coat.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish off with a top coat, which we'll go through in 10 minutes. And you can look at the colours and just make sure you're happy with what we're going to do.
Perfect. Spot on. Looks so good already, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. We could lacquer that now, and that would be absolutely fine as a gloss black wheel.
Yeah.
Gloss black is a really popular finish.
Yeah.
I mean, it came in around 10 years ago. It was typically your Range Rovers that introduced the black wheel to a lot of people, and it's been a real fashionable item for vehicles ever since.
No, it looks really smart, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right, we'll get some gold on.
Let's do it.
the gold is a lighter colour, there's less weight to it, it comes out the gun quicker than the black primer. The black primer is slightly thicker. So I've just been round it now and I've gone round it, double checked that I've covered all the areas, all the little bits that we thought that you might not get on the first hit. You just go round it again.
Oh, already it looks so good.
It's completely transformed it, hasn't it? It looks a different wheel.
Puts a lot of pressure on me not to bugger up the paint job now, because these look so good.
The wheels were looking more and more incredible by the second, but then James asked if I wanted to give powder coating one of the wheels a go on my own.
Okay, I'll have a little go.
Right. Are you left or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Perfect, so if you stand where I am,
Yeah.
I'll grab the other glove.
Okay.
I can take over if it gets...
Yeah, I'll just give it a little go.
Right, stick a little bit in the waterfall just to get a feel for it. Right.
Yeah.
If we double trigger that, we get more.
What do you mean, like literally double?
Double trigger.
Shall I try that?
Yep.
Sound it?
Okay. What I do, and everyone's different, okay? I'll double trigger the back.
Yeah.
As I spin it, I'll do this.
Yeah.
I'll double trigger the back of the back of the spokes. As the wheel spins around, I'll let off, single trigger, just go a little bit slower on the face,
Okay.
all right? It doesn't matter, all right? If this goes wrong, I know there's people watching, it's not the end of the world. That's what we do. We refurb wheels. This could be done again, all right? I've got faith.
Shall I start on the back, this back wall?
So if you do what I do, I want to guide it.
Yeah.
Aim here.
Here.
Yeah.
And then just work like down like
Work
that.
your way around. You'll soon tell. Yeah, that's it. Keep going. Slowly does it. So we'll get right underneath there. I'm going to try and spin it as you go. So if you get to the top, yeah. We'll do the same on this here. So double trigger again, yeah. All right, you've done this before, you, haven't you? Don't make it look too easy, will you, Charlie? Go a little bit closer. Yeah. Fine. Cracking job, sir. Anything that we think we may have missed, as with my wheels, we're going to attack it with the top coat, where I can get in those angles a little bit closer. All right, this is the base, so it's not the finished article. The finished article will be in about an hour's time.
Yeah, do anything I buggered up though. Don't.
I'll have a look, but I think we're good, Charlie. I'm just going to pop a little bit in the corner. Because I know this is going to be your pride and joy, this
Absolutely.
vehicle. We want to have it right. Good job, I'd say, Charlie. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Same procedure as last time. Once we've layered the black down, we're going to set the timer again and we'll revisit in 20 minutes.
Perfect.
Time for a drink.
Yeah.
Right, Charlie, we're nearly there, okay? The gold's been laid down on top of the black primer. We've discussed about having a top coat for this, all right? We could leave it as it is, but I think let's add a bit more spice to it.
Yep.
These wheels will be bespoke to you after all. You could come in and have a choice of whatever you like. I know gold is the theme. You know, I know you've spoke to Charles as well and Adam, etc., about colours over emails and telephones and things like that. I've picked two of my favourites.
Yep.
I do think you'll like them, and one of them is a gold leaf, which it's been seen on Lotus wheels of past years and things like that. The other, which I think would probably suit the wheels more, and I do think you'd like this, I'll show you a sample of both, is a BBS gold.
Yeah, classic.
All right, it's classic. We've got Subaru golds, we've got Porsche golds, things like that. I think this would really suit what you're after and what you've told me with the theme of your car and what you're looking to achieve with it. I think this is going to be a bit of a choice, a bit of a real good decision.
Yeah.
You'd have to excuse the mess. I think we'd said to the chaps, tidy up. But I think if it was really tidy, you'd be going, do you actually do any work here? So, and when we opened this place, it was like a real hospital. It was clinically clean.
Yeah.
And as the years go by, unfortunately, not so much. But there we go. You'll have to study these, and you can, Finley, by all means, get the camera in on these. We're talking really, really close proximity to these colours, all right? So
that's our BBS and that's our Lotus.
Absolutely, yeah. This is more of a traditional BBS, has been around for many, many years. Yeah. That is their original gold, all right? It will sit really well over your wheels.
See, that's quite similar to the primer, being a bit lighter.
It's a lighter colour, lighter tone, not so much in your face, a bit more sort of duller, as it were, all right?
But I think the BBS is the...
Yeah, I
that's
think
the
so.
ticket, yeah.
We're more than welcome to show you some Subarus and things like that, the golds that they issue, or used to issue in the 90s, really. They're predominantly when they first released their gold wheels. I've got all the colours for those, but we could be here all week looking at those.
I think that's the ticket, yeah.
We've narrowed it down, and I think that is the right choice. Brilliant. So I'm going to put the lid back on. I'll just get rid of that one there. I'm going to give it a little shake. We'll get a mix and cut, and we're just going to sieve it out.
So when you top coat it, is that paint or is that?
Yep. So this is a paint. So there's a few different ways, alternatives that we could do these wheels. All right. So years gone by, you would apply either a black primer or a grey primer. Black would be black or dark grey. So you could leave the black primer and lacquer it, as it were, and that could be used, suitable to go on the road as a black colour. Or you could put a dark grey over a black primer, and then you could lacquer that and send it out the door, and that is what you'd call an anthracite.
Okay.
All right. There are many, many different anthracites. There's many, many different silvers, in fact. And we're talking colours that look similar, but they're different levels of metallic in them. All right, so different metal flake in them. So we've used the black primer as a primer, so that is going to be used as what it's intended for today. We've used the gold powder coat as a base, all right, because if I was going to paint this over the black primer, which is achievable, it would take me an awfully long time. All right, so we've used that gold base out of the powder gun to speed the process up, because we've got you here today, and you can stay here as long as you want, but it will get a bit boring eventually. So I want to tip this all in here. Whatever we don't use is going to find its way back in here shortly, but we're just going to sieve it out. We've given it a shake already.
Yeah, it's a really nice colour.
I think you'll like this. You won't know until it's lacquered how it really looks. Because we've used the gold on the wheels as a base over that black primer, all right? That means I don't have to use so much of the paint, all right? So I'm saving myself money and a bit of time, as it were, all right, doing that way. In previous years, I would have done this over the primer. It would have took a lot longer. I've sieved that in there. We know that's good. I am just going to be cautious, take a precaution, and sieve it again as it goes into cut. I'm just going to tip that in there. Same again. So any debris that might have found its way in there is no longer. These generally hold half a litre, so we're sort of just over half, you know.
And that's enough for a set?
That in this circumstance, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, if I'd have gone over the black primer, I would have probably used a litre of paint, you know, to do it thoroughly inside and out, all behind the spokes and the crevices. But You know, this cup's sort of half a litre, if you will. I'm probably about 300 sort of mil at the moment, and that'll be enough. I think there'll be some that come back and goes back in there. So, but let's find out.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. There we go, Charlie. First reveal of your gold powdered wheel coming out of there.
That looks awesome.
Very, very hot. So we've baked these at 180 degrees. Our initial stages were 210, 215. We wanted the wheel as hot as we could. Once we'd layered our coating down, we didn't want to go overcook it, all right? So we want the paint to stick to that wheel. If we'd gone excessive with the heat, that bond wouldn't be there anymore.
Yeah, got you.
It'd be over-cured. All right, so as I mentioned outside, because we've got a little bit more activity in here today, we've got a debris, a couple of bits there, which I can sand out, but I do need that wheel cool down a little bit before I start working it. So we can see that colour starting to take now. It looks a lot brighter than this one over here, you can see. Right, so the fourth wheel that we're attacking at the moment has got a few little bits of sort of debris and dirt which have landed in it, unfortunately. We can easily achieve rectifying this with the sander, but we just have to make sure that we go through the grades of grit on the sandpaper just to make sure that when we cover it again with the paint, we're not going to be leaving scratch marks anywhere, okay? We're going to be using a rotary sander as opposed to using our hands. I might use my hands with a finer paper at the moment just to go over the top of these. It's rather hot at the moment. It should be much cooler than this, so I'll just let that have 30 seconds or so just to cool down with the air extracted away from it. And then you'll see what it looks like in a minute.
No, it's going to look so cool. Perfect. Yeah.
Minutes to cool down before we lacquer them.
Okay, cool. No, they look so cool.
I didn't envision that going wrong. We've adapted and overcome, so.
No, I think it's all good. It's all good to show the reality, isn't it?
But that's true. That's true. lacquer process as a powder coat. So you can lacquer them wet.
Yeah.
Much harder to achieve when you've got lots of different spokes.
Yeah.
All right. This is the same as the powder coat, effectively the same process of what we've done previously today on these wheels. It's going to look very strange because it comes out white, as I said to you earlier, but rest assured when it goes in, it gets baked and cured, it'll come out clear. Awesome. Double trigger. If you weren't so good on YouTube, I'd offer you a job. I don't know if you'd take it, mind you.
It's very satisfying, isn't it?
It is very therapeutic. Right, if I just get this stuff out of our way.
If I buggered any bits, let me do it, you know.
No, I'm happy with that. You can see with the white, because it's white, it's more vibrant, you can tell automatically that I know that I can see that you've been in all the areas. Yeah. It flows much nicer, that product. Yeah. You don't have to work it so hard. It sort of comes out a bit more gentle and a bit more sort of, you just ferry it over. Yeah. But we'll get them in.
Wicked.
Right, we're happy. They're not going to move around. They're not going to hit into each other. So we'll shut the doors. Brilliant. Perfect. Let's go for it. With the 180 degrees that we're going to use to lacquer our wheels, I've just gone up on the time, okay? I've found the sweet spot for me, or us as a business, what works in this establishment. For our lacquers is 28 minutes. All right, I'll let you press the button.
Thank you.
Right, I'm going to go get cleaned up. You might want to do the same, and we'll see you shortly.
Brilliant, thank you.
Right, Charlie, we're down to 0. That can only mean one thing.
Wheel time.
It's a grand reveal. The grand wheel, even.
Oh,
there we
good.
go. There we go. Right, let's have a look. Look at that.
Whoa, look at that. They look so nice. That's the perfect gold.
Yeah.
There we go, Charlie.
Bloody hell, they look wicked.
Yeah, you love them.
Yeah, oh, it's perfect. They're so bright.
They are really bright.
And like Joe would say, they look wet in like...
They
you
do.
know.
We've put a lot of lacquer on those. It's something that we'd like to do here.
Yeah.
We're not stingy with the product. We like to put a lot of lacquer on them, and they just look wet and glossy and lovely.
Yeah, oh, puts a lot of pressure on me to get this paint job right, doesn't it?
Ah, well, I'm sure you'll do just fine. If anything from today that I've seen from you is to go by, I know that you've got a talent for it, and you've certainly got a keen eye.
Well, maybe I'm just good at talking bollocks.
Well, yeah, you and me both, perhaps. But wing it, as they say. But look, you know, it's been a little bit more difficult and tricky today because we've invited extra people into the booth. All right, so we had a bit of dirt on one of the wheels. We've rectified that, but you know, that wasn't too painful. You know, none of us are suit and a boot. It was pointless me getting a suit on if we were inviting 3 more other people that didn't. So we've just gone with the flow.
Yeah.
But I think looking at the results.
Oh, they look wicked. I think it's amazing as well, the extraction, even without, you know, PPE. Like it just, you see everything going.
It's just doing its job. You can see it sort of being drifted away from you, sucked away, you know, enabling us to get achieve a result like this.
No, they're bloody incredible. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Put it there.
We'll be
and
back.
I cannot wait to see these wheels on the car,
Oh, yeah.
and I want the car here. So I'm challenging you. I
Yeah.
know it's always a time thing. I've got projects of my own, but I want to have the vehicle in here
Yeah.
with the wheels on it.
Yeah.
That would be another episode.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we can do it in the next couple of months.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Wicked.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, mate. Look at these. These are looking absolutely insane. I've never had nice wheels on anything. And when you think about the state of these when they arrived, I mean, they looked a long way from being, even usable. But now look at them. I'm really pleased as well, completely solid gold. Obviously, originally they had the lip of sort of chrome, and I was a bit concerned about going full gold, but they just look so insane. Imagine these with some nice black rubber on our 911. Oh, it's gonna look insane. Right, so it's collection day. We've got the rubbers on and the rims are completely done and they look insane. Tell us about the last steps.
Literally the last process, what we went through. James was in the booth, as we saw. Final process we went through, we checked any imperfections, they were polished out. We then applied the tyres that were required. As me and Adam, we both sourced them, we studied high and low to make sure that we had the best quality tyre, just for Charlie just here. Opted for the next gen SU1s, fantastic tyre, good sidewall, as Charlie's requested for his build. After that, fitted them up, balanced, and then obviously myself, I applied ceramic coating just to give that little bit more protection for your wheels. Just what you wanted.
Yeah,
Just exactly.
absolutely. I can't believe how far they've come. Just where these rims began, they were in a pretty dire state.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And I just can't believe how you've done this magic to them. It looks absolutely insane. I love the gold, and I think the tyres look wicked. That just
do.
chunky tyre
Yep.
wall, I think will go with the look. The classic wide body 911. It just couldn't be more perfect. So yeah, thank you so
Brilliant.
much.
No worries. Anytime.
And you guys know what to do.
Yeah.
Check out Wheelhouse. All their info's here. Tell them I sent you. They're the best in the business. Just look at these. It speaks for itself. So check them out. And yeah, I can't wait to get these on the car. Okay, so we are back at the shed and we are back with the 911. Now, that was quite the process. I don't know about you guys, but I'd never really thought about how much went into wheel restoration, and I definitely didn't think it was that much. But Wheelhouse are just fantastic, a wonderful team, just not only fantastic at what they do, but they're just really lovely guys, great people to do business with, so I couldn't recommend them enough. But I know what you want to see. You want to see the wheels on the car. Now, we can't get them fitted this week because they are actually a different stud pattern, which I did know about, so we are changing the hubs on this, hopefully in the next episode. But we will put them next to the car so you can sort of start to see the vision. Now just look at these things. They are like rays of sun. They look incredible. I just think they look so good. They pop so nicely. I love the rim and tyre combo. Obviously, we've gone for kind of an old school big tyre wall look, which I think will just play into all of this so well. And when you just sort of compare what we were working with to what we are now working with, it's night and day. I really cannot wait to get these on. I think they're going to look awesome. One thing you're probably thinking about is how massive they are. Obviously, the rim is 18. We were working with a 15, so we've gone up 3 inches on the rim, and obviously we've got pretty fat tyres. Now, when you put them next to the car and they're not fitted, it makes it look like it's going to be a monster truck. But you've got to remember, once these are mounted flat, obviously they're on an angle, and we've lowered the suspension. Obviously, the Beetle rear suspension you can lower regardless, but we actually have an adjustable front beam. So you've got to remember these will be tucked probably a little bit, and it will look awesome. So trust the process. But we've got all of that to come. For now, I just want to say a huge thank you to Wheelhouse for doing this. They just look incredible. Again, if you need any wheel restoration, they also do caliper restoration. I've left their website down below so you can check out all of their services. They really are just the best in the business. Such lovely guys, such trustworthy guys, just I could not recommend them enough. It's really hard these days to find businesses that not only do a fantastic job, but also lovely to deal with, and there's just a sort of old school mentality there in the way they conduct business, and I mean that in the best way. You go there, they're nice, you trust them, you know the job's getting done. There's no question marks over anything. So I really do recommend them. And obviously, look at the finish. Like, you can't argue with that. They look absolutely fantastic. So check out Wheelhouse. I've linked them down below. Their website's there, their phone number's there. Wonderful guys. Now, with that said, obviously we've got a lot more work to do on this thing. In the next episode on the 911, we will finish priming the body panels. We'll also do the hub conversion, probably start lowering this thing, and we can get these wheels fitted. Then once we've done that, we are about ready for paint. Now that is all arranged, so we're going to be painting this thing in a few weeks. So it is all coming together. Of course, we're still working on the Nova. We've begun body work, which is tremendously intense. There's just so much that needs doing. If you didn't see the last Nova episode, we posted a couple of weeks ago, and we're at that point now, but it will be worth it. But on my side of things, I've got a bit of a time crunch because I was meant to leave for America around the 10th of August for a month, and now we're not so sure. I might have to leave at the end of this month, and that is because of my wife's visa. It might not be renewable, which is a massive complexity in itself. So I've got a month, or less than a month now, potentially, to get as far with not only the 911 but the Nova as possible, and then I will be away for a month. So I'm trying to get as much filmed so I can bridge the gap of me being away and give you content on these cars, because when I'm over there, obviously I can't be working on them. It's a whole bigger thing. Obviously it's stressful from a content point of view to try and get loads done on cars. It's hard enough to get an episode out every week, but the idea of trying to get a month's worth of content, even if we just post every other week, in time for when I go away, is just a huge task. But I'm going to try my best because I want you guys to have exciting content through August as well. But above that, it's just quite a lot of stress going on at the moment, trying to arrange this visa situation, seeing what our options are. Yeah, so it's trying to keep this thing spinning, trying to keep life spinning, but we'll get there. In the end, we'll have some very cool cars and life will be great. So not to worry. I'm not worried. I'm a bit worried, but anyway. But enough of that. If you enjoyed this episode, and even if you didn't, please do consider liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, hitting the hype button if that's still a thing, hitting the bell icon so you get notified when I post. All of that sort of thing helps me out, allows me to keep making episodes on these bizarre cars. Another great way to support the channel is my Patreon, which I've linked down below. Over on the Patreon, they get behind the scenes, early access, sort of day-to-day updates, what's going on in the cars, what's going on in the shed, silly ideas I have, silly cars that I see for sale and get tempted by, all of that fun. Another great way to support the channel is merchandise. I've linked it down below. Any money made from the merchandise just goes on to buying parts, keeping the lights on, and just keeping this bizarre YouTube channel going. So I really do appreciate any support you can offer. But regardless of all that, I'm just so grateful that you guys tune in every week and watch me do weird shit on cars. Luckily in today's episode, you saw some professionals do car work. It's usually not anywhere near that level of quality, but regardless, I'm just so grateful that you guys are here and continue to watch. So until next time, take care, and I will see you then.